Let's talk about money. It's one of the most powerful forces in our society, but it's also one of the most misunderstood. People often reduce the idea of making money to a series of steps. Invest here, save there, avoid this, buy that. But the real science of making money runs much deeper. It involves understanding yourself, the psychological principles behind wealth, the dynamics of risk, and the structure of inequality that shapes our economy. The accumulation of wealth depends not on luck, but on the ability to bring value to others consistently and sustainably. Now, here's a harsh truth. The way wealth is distributed is profoundly unequal. You hear a lot of talk about the 1%, that small group of people who control a massive share of the world's wealth. This distribution isn't just some accidental outcome of a corrupt system. It's actually a fundamental law, often called the Pareto principle or Price's law. This law describes how in any domain of creative endeavor, a small fraction of people ends up doing most of the work and consequently reaping most of the rewards. This isn't just true for money. It's true for creativity, music, scientific contributions, and even sports. In classical music, for example, a handful of composers, Beethoven, Mozart, Bach, Brahms, and Tchaikovsky, composed half of the music that still gets played today. Think about that. 5 composers out of hundreds or thousands produced music that is still relevant centuries later. It's the same in the world of money. Most people end up with very little, while a small group ends up with almost everything. Let's think about why that happens. One way to understand this is to imagine playing Monopoly. Everyone starts with the same amount of money, but as the game goes on, some people win more and more, while others lose everything. Once you hit zero, you're out of the game, and the odds of getting back in are nearly impossible. The same principle applies in the real world. As you start to accumulate resources, opportunities open up for you, and it becomes easier to keep accumulating. Conversely, once you fall into poverty, it becomes a lot harder to climb back out. That's the way the system is structured, not just because of corruption or systemic unfairness, but because that's how iterated games play out over time. But what does that mean for you as an individual trying to make your way in the world, trying to become financially successful? The first thing you need to do is to understand the game you're playing and recognize its rules. Money is a resource, but it's not just a tool for survival. It's also a reflection of how well you can navigate the complexities of modern society. And in order to succeed, you need to be aware of your own habits and behaviors. If you deceive yourself about what's happening in your life, if you keep yourself in the fog because you'd rather not face uncomfortable truths, then you're going to struggle financially. I've seen this in my clinical practice time and again. People who were financially unstable weren't just struggling with money. They were struggling with their own lack of clarity, their own refusal to see what was really happening around them. If you're accustomed to keeping things in a fog, you'll do the same with your finances. You'll ignore the uncomfortable realities, like overspending, accumulating debt, or failing to save, because it's easier in the short term to just not think about it. But that's a surefire way to end up in a financial crisis. You need to be honest with yourself. You need to see things clearly, to take stock of where you are, and to make a plan to improve. And improving doesn't just mean making more money. It means changing your habits and understanding the role your character plays in all of this. If you want to be successful, you need to cultivate the kinds of habits that lead to success. This means taking responsibility for your actions, developing discipline, and setting long-term goals. Let's talk about conscientiousness for a moment, because it's an important trait when it comes to financial success. Conscientiousness is essentially your ability to be orderly and industrious, to make plans, stick to them, and execute tasks effectively. People who are highly conscientious tend to do better financially. They manage their time well, they save and invest wisely, and they don't get caught up in impulsive decisions that could lead them astray. Conscientiousness also involves being willing to delay gratification. In our society, there's this constant temptation to seek immediate pleasure. Whether it's buying the latest gadget, going on an expensive vacation, or indulging in luxuries that you can't really afford, our culture pushes us towards instant gratification. But the key to building real wealth is to do the opposite, to delay gratification, to save and invest instead of spending impulsively. You need to be willing to sacrifice short-term pleasure for long-term gain. This brings us to the topic of risk. Making money requires taking risks, but they have to be calculated risks. The human brain, as it turns out, is not very good at evaluating risk, especially when it comes to money. We're wired to seek out opportunities that promise big rewards, even if the probability of those rewards is incredibly low. That's why people buy lottery tickets or gamble in casinos. We're more interested in the possibility of winning big than we are in the reality of losing small amounts repeatedly. Risk, however, is not something to be avoided. A life without risk isn't really a life worth living. But you have to understand that risk must be managed. You can't just throw yourself into risky ventures blindly and hope that it works out. You need to educate yourself, understand the odds, and be strategic about the risks you take. And sometimes not taking a risk is actually the biggest risk of all, because by avoiding risk, you might be missing out on opportunities for growth, for wealth, and for success. Think about the people who make it into the top 1%. They didn't get there by playing it safe all the time. They got there because they were willing to take risks, educated, calculated risks. They were willing to bet on themselves, to invest in their skills, and to put themselves in situations that had the potential for big payoffs. But they also understood the downside of those risks and were prepared to deal with the consequences if things didn't work out. It's also important to understand the nature of inequality. Wealth inequality is a fact. It's an inevitable consequence of the way that value is created and distributed in our society. But that doesn't mean you're stuck where you are. There's a lot of churn at the top. People come in and out of the top 1% all the time. You have about a 10% chance of being in the top 1% for at least 1 year of your life. That's not insignificant. It means that with the right combination of skills, effort, and timing, you could find yourself in that position. But to get there, you need to maximize your value. You need to ask yourself, what can I do that others cannot? What can I create, contribute, or solve that is of enough value that people are willing to pay me for it? The more value you can create, the more wealth you'll accumulate. And value comes from developing skills, gaining knowledge, and putting in the hard work necessary to become an expert in your field. This is why it's so important to invest in yourself. Everything you do is an investment, whether you realize it or not. You're either investing in your future success or you're investing in your future failure. When you spend your time learning, growing, and building skills, you're investing in your future success. But when you waste your time, avoid responsibilities, and engage in destructive habits, you're investing in your future failure. One of the most important investments you can make is in your habits. Your habits are what determine your future. If you have habits that align with your goals, like saving a portion of your income, continually learning new skills, and staying disciplined, you're going to move in the right direction. But if your habits are out of alignment, if you spend impulsively, avoid challenging yourself, or allow yourself to be controlled by fear, you're going to struggle. Another crucial aspect of financial success is understanding the people around you. Surround yourself with people who encourage growth, who inspire you, and who are themselves striving for improvement. If you surround yourself with people who are constantly complaining, who blame others for their problems, and who aren't interested in growth, that attitude is going to rub off on you. You need to be around people who challenge you to be better, who hold you accountable, and who celebrate your successes. It's also important to understand the role of luck in financial success. Yes, luck plays a part. Being in the right place at the right time, having the right connections, or getting an opportunity that others don't get. But luck alone isn't enough. You have to be prepared to capitalize on luck when it comes your way. And that means developing your skills, being disciplined, and staying ready. Luck is where opportunity meets preparation. If you're not prepared, the opportunity will pass you by. Remember, when we talk about financial success, we're not just talking about the amount of money in your bank account. We're talking about holistic success. Having enough money to live comfortably, yes, but also having good health, strong relationships, and a sense of purpose. Many people focus solely on making money, and they end up sacrificing everything else: their health, their family, their mental well-being. True success means balancing all of these aspects. It means asking yourself what kind of life you want to lead, and then making sure that your pursuit of money aligns with that vision. There's no point in becoming financially wealthy if you lose everything else in the process. That's why you need to think about the cost. What are you willing to sacrifice, and what are you not willing to sacrifice? Are you willing to work hard and delay gratification? Yes, you should be. But are you willing to destroy your relationships or compromise your integrity? Absolutely not. You need to know where to draw the line. Money is a tool. It should serve you, not the other way around. Finally, let's talk about perseverance. The journey to financial success is not easy, and it's not quick. It requires patience, dedication, and the ability to keep going even when things get tough. You will face setbacks. You will fail. You will make mistakes. But each of those moments is an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to come back stronger. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is a crucial part of success. It's the feedback you need to adjust your approach, refine your strategy, and become better. So, if you want to understand the science of making money, start by understanding yourself. Be honest about your habits, your strengths, and your weaknesses. Develop the kind of character that leads to success: discipline, conscientiousness, and a willingness to take risks. Understand the dynamics of wealth, the rules of the game, and the role that value plays. Invest in yourself, surround yourself with the right people, and be prepared for when luck comes your way. Most importantly, remember that money is not an end in itself. It's a means to an end. It's about creating a life that is meaningful, purposeful, and full of value, not just for yourself, but for those around you. So aim high, work hard, and stay true to your principles. That's the real science of making money. We've talked about the science behind making money, understanding yourself, the habits you cultivate, the risks you take, and the ways in which value manifests itself. But let's take this further. Let's discuss what you do with money once you have it, and how it fits into the broader picture of your life, your community, and your sense of purpose. One of the key principles of making and keeping money is learning to manage it responsibly. It might sound straightforward, but handling money is not something that comes naturally to most people. In fact, money can often be a source of great suffering if you don't know how to manage it well. Many people think that getting a large sum of money, like a big raise, an inheritance, or winning the lottery, will solve all their problems. But if you haven't developed the discipline and skills needed to manage that money, it can quickly become a nightmare. Imagine a person with destructive habits, someone who drinks too much, gambles, or has no sense of financial responsibility. If that person suddenly gets a significant amount of money, what happens? The money tends to magnify their problems rather than solve them. I've seen this in my clinical practice. Clients who, upon receiving money, would go on a binge, blowing it all on substances or risky behavior. They ended up worse off than before because they hadn't addressed the underlying issues that kept them in financial distress. That's why understanding the psychology behind your relationship with money is crucial. Money is a tool. It amplifies who you already are. If you're disciplined, thoughtful, and strategic, money will help you achieve your goals and provide security. But if you're reckless, impulsive, or deceitful, it will amplify those characteristics and lead to greater problems. To effectively manage your money, you need to develop a set of core financial habits. These include living below your means, saving consistently, and investing wisely. Let's break these down. Living below your means is about spending less than you earn. It requires discipline and a deep understanding of what's truly important to you. It means you don't buy things just to impress others. You don't spend money. You don't have to project an image of success. Instead, you focus on what brings real value to your life, and you invest in that. Saving consistently is another crucial habit. It's not just about putting away whatever is left at the end of the month. It's about paying yourself first. Every time you earn money, a portion of it should go straight into savings. This is not just for emergencies, although that's important. It's about building a financial cushion that provides you with a sense of security and freedom. The peace of mind that comes from knowing you have savings is invaluable. It allows you to take risks, pursue opportunities, and face challenges with greater confidence. Then there's investing wisely. Investing is the process of making your money work for you. It's about putting your resources into ventures that will grow over time. Investing is inherently risky, but it's also necessary if you want to build wealth. The key is to understand the difference between calculated risk and reckless risk. Calculated risk involves educating yourself, understanding the market, and making informed decisions. Reckless risk, on the other hand, is gambling. Throwing money at something you don't understand in the hope that it will yield big returns. True investors know the difference, and they approach investing with discipline, patience, and a willingness to learn. Now, let's talk about something that's perhaps even more important than making or managing money, and that's how you use money to create meaning. Money, on its own, has no inherent value. Its value comes from what you do with it. When you reach a point where you have enough money to cover your basic needs and provide some level of comfort, the question becomes, what will you do with the excess? How will you use it to make your life and the lives of others better? One of the best uses of money is to invest in your growth, not just financially, but personally and professionally. This means using your money to gain new skills, to learn, and to expand your horizons. Education is one of the best investments you can make, and that doesn't necessarily mean formal education. It means investing in whatever helps you grow: books, courses, mentorship, experiences that challenge you and make you better. Another way to use money meaningfully is to give back to your community. Money gives you the ability to help others, to support causes that matter to you, and to make a difference in the world. When you use your resources to contribute to something greater than yourself, it gives your wealth a sense of purpose. It transforms money from something purely material into something that enriches lives, builds communities, and creates positive change. But of course, this comes with a warning. Just as money can amplify positive qualities, it can also amplify negative qualities when used carelessly. You need to be wary of the pitfalls of wealth: greed, entitlement, and complacency. It's easy to become complacent when you reach a certain level of comfort. It's easy to think you've made it and that you no longer need to strive, learn, or grow. But that's a dangerous mindset. The world is constantly changing, and if you're not adapting, you're falling behind. You need to stay engaged, stay curious, and continue to challenge yourself, even when things are going well. Let's also talk about the concept of enough. One of the reasons people get caught in the trap of chasing money endlessly is that they don't have a clear sense of what enough means for them. They think that more money will always lead to more happiness, but research consistently shows that beyond a certain point, additional wealth doesn't contribute significantly to happiness. In fact, it can create new problems: stress, isolation, or a sense of emptiness. That's why it's crucial to define what enough means for you. What do you need to live a fulfilling life? Once you've achieved that, focus on other forms of wealth: relationships, health, purpose. Purpose is a key element of true wealth. Money can give you the freedom to pursue your purpose, but it can't provide you with a purpose. That's something you have to define for yourself. What drives you? What gets you out of bed in the morning? What kind of impact do you want to have on the world? These are questions that money alone can't answer. But if you've defined your purpose clearly, then money becomes a tool you can use to achieve it. It allows you to take risks, to invest in your dreams, and to make a difference. The path to financial success also involves developing resilience, the ability to keep going in the face of setbacks. Making money, managing it, and using it meaningfully is not an easy journey. You will face challenges. You'll make mistakes. You will encounter obstacles that seem insurmountable. But resilience is what allows you to keep moving forward, even when things are tough. It's the ability to bounce back from failure, to learn from your mistakes, and to come back stronger. Changing your habits is a big part of building resilience. Habits are powerful. They can either lead you towards success or keep you trapped in failure. If you want to improve your financial situation, you need to develop habits that align with your goals. This means breaking old, destructive habits like spending impulsively, avoiding responsibility, or ignoring your finances, and replacing them with habits that support your growth. Start small. You don't need to overhaul your entire life overnight. Begin by making small, consistent changes, and over time, those changes will lead to significant transformation. Let's talk about risk and reward again, because it's one of the most misunderstood aspects of making money. Many people are afraid of taking risks. They think that playing it safe will protect them, but what they don't realize is that not taking a risk is itself a risk. Life is inherently risky. There's no such thing as a completely secure path. If you avoid risks entirely, you end up missing out on opportunities, stagnating, and ultimately putting yourself in a worse position. The key is not to avoid risk, but to manage it wisely. Think of your financial journey as a balancing act between order and chaos. Order is about stability, discipline, and structure. Chaos is about taking risks, exploring the unknown, and embracing change. Too much order leads to stagnation. You become rigid, fearful, and unwilling to adapt. Too much chaos, on the other hand, leads to instability. You take reckless risks, make impulsive decisions, and lose control. True financial success requires finding a balance between these two forces. It means having enough order to stay disciplined while also embracing enough chaos to take advantage of opportunities when they come. Let's also reflect on the inevitable inequalities of wealth. We can't escape the fact that in any system of production, some people will have more and others will have less. This isn't always a reflection of merit. It's also influenced by luck, timing, and the rules of the game. But within that system, you have choices. You can choose to take responsibility for your life, to invest in your own growth, and to do everything in your power to create value. You might not end up in the top 1%, but you can certainly improve your situation, provide for yourself and your family, and make a meaningful contribution to society. Wealth, in the end, is about freedom, the freedom to live your life on your own terms, to pursue your dreams, and to make a positive impact on the world. But that freedom comes with responsibility. You need to take responsibility for your actions, your decisions, and your habits. You need to understand that every choice you make, every dollar you spend, every investment you undertake is shaping your future. It's either bringing you closer to your goals or taking you further away from them. And remember this, your value is not determined by the amount of money you have. Money is a tool, a resource. It's not a measure of your worth as a person. Your worth comes from who you are, from the relationships you build, from the impact you have, and from the way you live your life. If you chase money at the expense of everything else, you'll end up empty. But if you build a life of meaning, purpose, and value, money will follow. The science of making money is not just about economics or investing. It's about self-awareness, discipline, resilience, and value creation. It's about knowing yourself, understanding your habits, embracing risk, and striving to make a difference. It's about using money not just to enrich your own life, but to make a positive impact on those around you. So take responsibility, take risks, invest in yourself, cultivate discipline, and above all, strive to create a life that is meaningful and full of value, not just for yourself, but for the people you care about and for the world at large. That is the true science of making money. It's about freedom, purpose, and the courage to become who you are capable of being.